sock off and put it up on the table.
No.
All right, here goes. Oh, is that TV on?
All right. Welcome to the first Legend Live. I want to say thank you all for joining in today. We are planning on interviewing enthusiasts throughout the motorcycle industry throughout our podcast here. And today we have the guys from Tulane Life. These guys by far have the best job in the world, I think. They travel around the country and film their experiences and the people they meet along the way. They have built a big following on social media and continue to share their experiences down the road. So without further ado, we have Galen, Lance, and Josh from Tulane Life. Welcome, guys.
What's happening?
Hey, thanks for having us today. We really appreciate this, and cheers to you.
Oh, you my beer.
I sure did.
Good man. That intro was awesome. So good stuff.
Yeah. So let's cut to the chase. How you guys all doing today?
We're doing great. We've had a really busy couple of months. Especially, we've put a bunch of Legend suspension out on the road over the last few months and years.
We've actually been moving a lot of it.
Yeah, it's great stuff.
Awesome.
Sold some stuff today.
But, we had a little bit of a hiccup, when we went out on the Pan Americas. And so that kind of disrupted our flow a little bit. We improvised and overcame.
Yes.
Good. Good. So you guys can kind of split this up however you'd like, but one of the things that, everybody's probably curious is, of course, we've seen it on the videos, but what bikes do you guys own and ride, along with how many miles have you logged over, say, the last year to say 10 or over the course of your lifetime, if you're keeping track?
Let's see. Mine will be the short part, so I'll go first. I have a 2021 Road King Special. I got 13-inch Revo remote reservoirs in the rear, standard height in the front. Got about 5,000 miles on this one. I had the identical bike before that, maybe put 2,000 miles on it, got stolen, yada, yada. Legend on both. Good times. And forgot the rest of the question.
In fact, the Legend on your bike, the one that was stolen, they liked them so much they just cut the saddlebag and dropped the cans in the bag.
Yeah, that was a funny one. And for those watching, we're actually looking at the stream up here on the TV. So if we're not looking at you, that's why. What about you? What bike are you on now?
Go ahead.
Go for it.
Well, I have a 2021 Road Glide Special, red and black. Love it. Every bike I've had, I've always had Legend suspension. So that's just like a go-to. When you get the bike, you get probably 5 different items, and one of them is Legends. And the miles, man, I mean, what have we done in the last 12 years?
We did 50 last year. We did about 42 on our bikes and another 8 on the Harley media bikes throughout the trips. And just seeing that intro totally reminded me of what a blast it was to be out in Maine and Milwaukee, and to have Zach and Mary with us. It was fantastic.
I like that foot hanging off one-hander shot.
The balance beam.
But I don't know. We've probably done
a couple 100,000.
Oh, easily.
Yeah.
We're probably more like combined 400,000 or 500,000.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we try to put down none of us own cars. Well, Josh owns a truck, but we ride to work every day. And it's just the way of life. And Lance is now riding back to work. He was in the car for a while, so we had to tease him a little bit there. But
yeah, back on the bike.
But we're back.
Yes.
Well, like I said, you guys, I think, have one of the best jobs in the industry. Just between going out, spending time on the road, all the different people that you get to meet along the way, the experiences that you guys are filming and documenting. Man, where do we sign up for this?
I would say cheers to that.
Yeah, I mean, in specific, I run a 2020 Road Glide Special, so that's my bike of choice right now. But if people go out and look at our drops that happened last week, but really the journey starts today. We were able to take a gentleman out by the name of Aaron Baker and take him on his longest trip to date, take him up to his hometown. He never thought he'd ride his motorcycle up there again. He's a recovering quadriplegic, and we just had such a great time. And it wasn't a ride. It was this kind of spiritual journey, watching him, watching his family. It was just a blessed 4 days, and motorcycles bring us together like that, and it's just pretty crazy.
It's funny when you say we have this really great job and how do you sign up for it? We don't look at it as a job. We're working actually harder than we've worked with our other careers in life, because we're 7 days a week. We're on the road. There's orders. There's business we take care of here, but we love it so much that it's just kind of like what we do. So it's just we're just living what we're doing. So
Agreed.
Well, and also, I mean, you think about when we started the channel, we're only 2 years old. We're probably not YouTube's poster child because we're not clickbaity. We're more cinematic.
Yeah.
But I think our viewers are very in tune with what we do and very loyal. And our whole goal was to really start inspiring people to get out and travel, whether they're on 2 wheels, 4 wheels. Our blogs have maps and things in them. So, but it's completely flipped. And like when we went to Sturgis last year, we had father and son teams. We had individuals we don't know. We recognize maybe their handle on their Instagram or something, but so many individuals coming up saying we've inspired them to get out and ride, it's just completely flipped on us.
Big time. And kind of back to the meeting people thing, whether it's people in small towns on Route 66 or people that might recognize us on the road, or even like he was talking about with Aaron, people that maybe we knew prior to riding with them or experiencing life on 2 wheels, and then hearing this deeper story that you might hear somewhere else, but being able to connect with someone over something just because you like the same machine. And that's kind of one of the most incredible things for me, at least.
For sure.
Well, and that's for sure. I mean, like you said, it's a brotherhood out there amongst riders, and then you guys are just really the epitome of showcasing it and putting it on display as enthusiasts, which fuels everyone else's fire. So props to you guys, because I think you said what you've done in the last couple of years has been nothing short of pretty amazing. So it's definitely hasn't gone unnoticed. So.
Well, thank you for that. And we're shaking hands with America, and we want people to fall back in love with America because it's a great country. And when we go from sea to sea and we meet people, and you meet some of the greatest people, and that's kind of what motivates us to keep going.
For sure. So I'm going to move on to the next quick question here. As experienced road warriors out there, what is the one item that you never leave home without?
Snacks. No.
You mean equipment on our bike or personal gear?
I would say that's staple. It's like whether it's a good luck charm or in your gear bag.
I mean, I think if you had, the essentials down, luggage and random stuff like that, for me, it's probably rain gear, at least when you're doing a lot of cross country, multi-state stuff. You never know when it's going to come. So
I wear a St. Christopher. I have a Road Warrior that the Desert Doctor in Escalante, Utah gave me. I wear that on my left-hand leg. And then I have you can't see it, but it's there. And then I have a rock that David and Chico gave us, a rock that kind of takes the bad juju out of the air.
Well, you better always pack dental floss. That's a key item.
There you go. So I'm not superstitious, but I've got every limb
But you're
covered.
acting like it.
For sure.
And I never leave home without my legend.
You know, and it's very interesting because we, in the beginning when we started all this, started riding together. I mean, the packing was like, oh, got to have this recount. Now it's like, oh, we're going to go pack and do a 5-day, 8-day trip. It's like the night before I know exactly. Boom,
I'm wearing my
boom,
clothes
time.
for the week right now.
Yeah.
You know,
For sure.
sure. That's the
Well,
second
very
time. For sure.
So what made you guys decide to create Tulane Life and share your journeys with the world?
Well, that's a great question. And Galen and I, we started riding together. We started doing these trips, and we started going farther and farther and farther. And we came back with all these stories, and his family and my family. I mean, everything we do is kind of fate, even meeting with Josh. But both our families kind of at the same time were like, why don't you, Dad, share this? And mine was the same thing. Why don't you guys do something with this and let the people see what you're doing? Do a YouTube channel. So we did.
Yeah, and I'd like to think that it was all me. I actually left banking, and we approached a number of folks such as yourself, Jesse, and some others, to build a Sprinter van and built motorcycles up and down the state of California and other Western states, and showcase the parts. And so, because
Traveling salesman.
I was done with banking. I'd done it for 32 years, and I came over to see Lance, and we were in the parking lot talking about it. He was kind of bummed because he wanted to do some of it with us, but he still was running Setware. And about that time, Lance Jr. walked out and said, "What are you guys talking about?" And then he looked at both of us and he said, "You're crazy. Start the YouTube channel." So we completely flip-flopped on what we were thinking about doing. And then we met everyone at MVP, yeah, and started asking them if they would support us on this channel, and that was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So we really appreciate all the people that have supported, especially the relationship we have with you guys at Legend.
Yeah, you guys are a great family. But to end that, so now Galen and I are iPhone videoing. And we're creating this stuff, and we're digging it. We're laughing. We're having a good time. We're showing our families. They're like, "This is great." And then they're like, "All right, get a laptop and edit it in iMovie." And we're like, "Oh, all right." And so we start doing it. And we're like, "We can't do this." And we met a guy, and he was showing us. He's like, "I'll charge you this. I can help you." But so we went back over to Thrash, and we said, "Do you know anyone that edits?" And they said, "No, we got this number for a friend of ours, and he edits." We called Josh, and the next day he came to our office, and he's been with us every day ever since.
And that was kind of, I mean, I could get into it, but at the time I was just finishing up business school, and my family's a little more traditional, but in a couple of years into college, I started playing with cameras pretty much for the sole purpose of capturing trips, like with my friends, going camping with the boys, whatever. And then eventually I kind of just didn't want to work a regular job, got into that, making somewhat of a living with cameras. And then when this came around, it was kind of like, oh, capture trips for work. And then obviously everything else on the business side of things stacked up as well. So it kind of, I think it ended up working out pretty well.
He was
like
a rider.
Yeah.
He was a rider, which fit in perfect. I can't beat that now. And he didn't used to go on trips with us. Now he's on every trip with us.
Perfect.
I was going to say, for the first few months, he wasn't even at the office. He would come in once in a while, but was editing primarily from home. And then about 6 months into it or so, it was like, you got to be here every day. And so it kind of has just turned into this full-time gig. He still does some moonlighting once in a while. If you saw his story today, he was kind of divulging some of our trade secrets.
Whoa.
We may end up firing him after this broadcast.
It's all right.
Uh-oh.
The cool thing is we built a website. Not only are we on the road, but we have a website that sells parts. I mean, and the customer service that we offer, and people that are returning customers, and just turning people on to what we use when we hit the road. It's kind of blown up in our face. It's awesome.
Well, and that's, you know, as ambassadors of the sport of motorcycling and the whole community, you know, a lot of people do take a lot of what you say to heart, because if it works for you guys, they feel it's going to work for them. And so, you know, that kind of leads me into that next question, as far as how would you say running our suspension has benefited you in your travels around the country?
Well, I'll if you go look at our last year, we did the Durango rally. What's it called? Four Corners Rally.
Yeah.
Up in Durango, and I had recently purchased the 2020 Street Road Glide, because my Street Glide CVO had blown up, and we didn't have time to change anything. And unsolicited, when we got into Durango, my wife at dinner, and we got it on tape.
Yes.
I don't know how we did that, but she said, "Where is my Legend suspension? I can't stand this stuff anymore." And that was 1,000 miles in. We did 1,000 miles back. So it's benefited us in many different ways. I think the wives really enjoy it. We enjoy it. There's no bottoming out anymore. The front end stiffens up when you've got the cartridges in. There's none of this kind of wobbling through the corners anymore. It's and we've had it even before we started the channel. We've had it on at least 4 other bikes.
Oh yeah. And several 100,000 miles.
Yeah.
But when you don't have it on, I mean, whether it's snow, dirt, rain, wind, we have it. It's great all the time. But when you're with the boys and there's 10 of you and you're ripping the Sturgis and the race is on, gotta have it.
What's that?
The Legend suspension. I mean,
yeah. We'll
because
talk
when you're
about
wheel to wheel and you're braking and you're not getting any gush or dive.
That. As a handheld camera operator, it's almost like a steady cam.
Yeah.
But yeah, mostly comfort, lower back stuff, and the abruptness of what you would feel if you didn't have suspension. It's kind of the main thing.
Well, the cool thing is when our viewers watch our videos and they see us in these different conditions, and they say, "What should I get?" And we say, "Well, you got to get Legends, and here's what you should get for your bike." Yeah. They know that they saw us with it, and they know that we like it, and it's proven. We're not making up stories. It's the real deal.
Well, and to put a finer point on it, when we started the channel and started the website, initially it was really, we wanted just the parts that we have on our bikes, because we knew that we had 8 years of history of riding with the equipment. So Legend is part of that. Clockwork, Saddleman, fueling parts, Thrashing, Cobra. And these are people that Legend is also friends with. So it's kind of this family deal. And we feel like that with you guys. It's not only family, but Thrashing. If you look at Cobra, you look at yourselves, manufactured, built in the USA, quality material. It's a big deal.
And they're all drag manufacturers.
Fueling as well. Yeah.
So as drag dealers, we're in the family selling our family members parts.
And we primarily, even on the website, we have access to all different parts, but we primarily sell Legend, Saddleman, Thrashing, the ones that we run.
That phone call just now, he wanted parts for his R6.
Yeah.
So
we'll get back to him.
Calls about anything.
Yeah.
You know?
Are you seeing any of the tags flashing up?
Yeah, we're seeing. I recognize Weston Customs too. He watches
all
our.
Right. All right. I was just going to say, Jesse just gave a shout out and said, "What's up, Tulane Cruise?" So,
hey, what's up, man?
All right.
There he is. What's up, Jesse?
So how do you guys decide your travels? You know, as far as, is it a flip of a coin, or do you really map this stuff out and think about it long and hard?
It's almost like we kind of know where we want to go, or we look at a place and Galen might say, I really have been wanting to get there. And luckily we all always kind of agree on where we want to go, and we travel well together and we like the same things. But I mean, how would you say
we plan out at the beginning of the year? We do a business plan, and we also look at destinations we think we'd like to travel. He's looking over here. I think you can see it, but the map, there are some zones that we have not been in. So as an example, last year, we had a lot of people telling us you need to get out to the East Coast. Yep. So we went big and went out to the furthest place on the East Coast you can get.
Yeah.
We'll do some Kentucky this year with Letitia Klein, whom I know you guys know.
Yep.
And we'll do a little bit of Tennessee and some North Carolina. Our next ride is actually, we're going to come out and see you guys. We're leaving here the 19th or 20th, be in Sturgis. We have rooms in Deadwood, the 22nd through the 26th. And we're going to show people what Sturgis is like before the rally. And we know that there's other things that go on. So that's our next big ride. We'll do some smaller rides around California, and then we'll be back out in Sturgis in August.
So we're going to share what it's like with no rally, and we're going to talk to business owners and shops and eat in restaurants, ride the roads, and show you what it's like without a bunch of motorcycles there. And then we're going to go back to Sturgis for the rally and do our normal Blitzkrieg rip.
Yeah. And
that's going to be an awesome segment there, because like you said, 50 weeks out of the year, it's a pretty quiet little town to live and work in. And so I think it'll definitely open the eyes to a lot of viewers going, holy cow. Everybody sees Sturgis as it's rally central, and it's rally on, 365 days a year. And so I think that'll be a really cool segment that you guys do there for sure.
Well, and it's really cool because we've got the town of Deadwood Rose Spires has been incredible for us. Jason actually turned us on to her as well.
Jason from Deadwood Cycles.
And the whole town, the people we've talked to, the historians that we're going to spend time with, the shop owners, the artists that we're going to spend time with. This is going to be a little bit more like our Route 66 legacy trip that was from Seligman to Oatman, where it's more documentary. It's more about them than us. We'll have one day where we're trying to show people Mount Rushmore and that, which more about us, and Lozelle Street with no Sturgis, but it's really going to be more focused on the town of Deadwood.
We will have our wives with us as well, because we want them to see Sturgis and Deadwood.
For sure. Very cool. So what's new and exciting that you guys have coming up? I mean, any new drops?
We have the drop with what's it?
Yeah, today was the first drop with Aaron Baker, who's a recovering quadriplegic, an adaptive athlete, if you will.
And if you haven't seen his Mad Max trike, you
yeah,
got to check
call
it
it
out.
the Black Boar. He's actually.
What are we going to have? 5 episodes? 6 episodes?
I think it's 4 full travel day episodes, and I'm thinking we might have like a bonus kind of narrative episodes, kind of mashing together all the interviews and stuff. Because when you're putting that together, you can't always fit the full story in the timeline of, say, a travel video.
Yep.
But there's so much more to the story, and it kind of goes back to the question of, how do you decide to travel certain places? Well,
right.
For us, we wanted to go to Monterey because that's Aaron's hometown. There's stuff that he hasn't seen, this and that. I won't get too into it, but I'm super stoked for this series. I'm kind of a little bit ahead as far as editing goes, but I'm looking at one of the sections where they are sharing their story, and when we're going on the Bigsby Bridge in Big Sur, which is something we've been on before, but in this setting was so much more exciting and more inspirational,
And there's something different. Sometimes we pick where we want to go, and sometimes it's dictated. After this Deadwood trip, where we have to head back to Kingman, Arizona, and hang out with our friend Jim Hinckley, who did some great history with us on Route 66, but he's getting a statue in Kingman. So we're going to go there, and then we're going to be in Kingman and film with Rockford Fosgate.
And we ratted it out from Deadwood to Kingman is 1,143 miles, and we've got a day to do it. So
we may do it in a day.
We'll see.
But I'd also say on these future drops, and the one that we just dropped with Aaron Baker, there's a and I don't care about the shameless plug, but there's a donate button on it that people can donate to the Wings for Life.
Yep.
It's
Spinal Cord Research Foundation.
That funding goes to spinal cord research. So if people are out there looking at it, if you have a little bit of extra coin, even $5 is cool.
Yeah. Awesome. That it sounds like it'll be a pretty awesome episode, and like you said, very worthwhile, especially considering that gentleman never thought he would ride back to his hometown again. So
amazing.
That's pretty inspiring, like you said. Do you guys have any questions that you can think of for me?
So it's a question we kind of get often from some of the buyers.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us, I think the Revo A is probably your best-selling rear shock. The difference really between that and the Reservoir?
Yeah, absolutely. So like you said, hands down, the Revo A has been, really our bread and butter for the last 6 or 7 years, and has really paved the way leading into the Revo Arcs now. And for a lot of the riders out there that maybe don't want or maybe need that extra adjustability, the Revo A is hands down probably the way to go. But there's always the guy or the gal, the rider out there, let's say, that is always wanting to tailor their motorcycle and their ride quality to their riding style. And so the Revo A does a great job. I would say it's on a comfort versus performance basis. You're looking at more comfort than performance related, but there's still plenty to be had there. But the beautiful part of the Revo Arc now is you can really tune that shock for both. Because of the adjustable compression and rebound damping, you can actually take and open that compression and rebound up and let that shock really move through its stroke the easiest that it possibly can for the most comfort available. But then on the contrary, you get to somewhere like the Tail of the Dragon and you want to go really, crank the twisties with the boys. You take and you close up the compression, close up the rebound, slow the action of the shock down so it doesn't feel like it's oscillating or hinged in the middle. And next thing you know, you've got yourself a great performance package. So the Revo Arc definitely leans and lends itself more towards the performance side of the house. But regardless, if a customer is out there, like you said, and if price point is an issue or something like that, there's no compromise by putting a Revo A on versus a Revo Arc. The ride quality and the performance is going to be so much more enhanced over the stock suspension that it's a great bargain for the dollar, regardless. Even a standard Revo at that.
Well, I think we're telling people the right thing then.
Yeah,
right.
We are,
because we'll get a lot of questions. Oh, I want to do both, but I can only do one right now. Well, that's like, you finance a car and get too high of a payment. Oh, but I'll make double payments because I did a lot, whatever.
Yeah.
You probably never end up doing it. So you're probably better off just doing both at the same time if that's an issue.
Yeah, and if it's price, I mean, we've had that discussion with people. They can almost do the same, getting the Revo A with the cartridge in the front, and they're in good shape.
For sure.
But we love the stuff. You guys came out with a mono. Is that
for the soft
for the soft tails, or how's that going for you?
Yep, that is correct. There's the new mono coil that we released last year for the 2018 and newer soft tails, and it's really, really picked up momentum. I mean, it's got a lot of traction here in the last 6 months, and it's like everybody that has put that rear shock on, whether it's a light female rider at 145 pounds or a heavier 2-up couple and switching over and doing the heavy duty, everybody comes back and says, oh my gosh, it's not even the same motorcycle as it was stock, so it's been it's been a long process to get to this point, but well worth the wait. So if anybody is out there waiting and skeptical, definitely time to upgrade that rear suspension on that Softail if you haven't done so yet.
Yeah, it's a must.
Absolutely. I mean, even I think right when you guys were still working on it and Zach had either a early model or prototype, you know, he was like, oh, I've ridden dirt bikes and stuff before, but never Harley. He got his Fat Bob and I guess got used to the stock suspension and was like, you know, this isn't quite as smooth as I thought. And then once he got him in there, he was like, dude, I didn't even know what I was missing. And that was kind of my deal. My first Harley had some other suspension, but I was bouncing around. But my first newer Harley, it was stock the whole time, and I didn't think much of it. And then when I got the Road King and eventually switched over, I'm like, there it is.
Now
You know, it makes sense. So
What else? Have you got anything new that we can tell people about, or
Well,
what are you guys working on?
We've got some stuff in the super secret squirrel area of the building that at this point can't divulge any information. But if I did, I'd have to kill you.
Okay. Well, that's going to be hard. We're a long way away.
Yeah, for sure. I'll wait till June.
But
He'll
maybe,
wait till
maybe,
we get
maybe at
that
the end of the
service.
month you can kill
we're not
us.
making it back home.
Yeah, but no, there's always something in the works, constantly,
Awesome.
you know, evolving. Just when you think you've got a good one, then, you know, it's time to go to work and continue to evolve and build a better mousetrap. So per se. So we've got
suspension for a tri-glide.
yeah, we've got a question here from Robert Davenport. What is the best suspension for a tri-glide? So, you know, here's the two big things that I always touch on when we discuss about tri-glide rear suspension. First and foremost, the questions that I always ask is, how do you do the majority of your riding? Are you riding solo, or are you riding 2-up and you're splitting that time, you know, between solo and 2-up 50-50, or so on and so forth? The riders that tend to do the majority of their riding in one fashion, whether it's strictly solo or it's always 2-up, the easy no-brainer there is the Revo or Revo A's for the rear of the tri-glide, depending on how much adjustability you want. And the reason I say that, if they're exclusive to riding solo, and if you're exclusive to riding 2-up, it's pretty much a set it and forget it kind of system. And so that's really nice in that regard. But if a rider is splitting their time 50-50 between solo and 2-up, that's where the air system comes in really nice, because in that regard, it gives you the ability to go back and forth between solo and 2-up with a push of a button, and really just find a sweet spot riding that, you know, riding solo and then adjusting it to riding 2-up, and not have to crawl under the motors or under the trike to make any adjustments. So I hope that answers your question, Robert. If that's where I would start. And then if you feel like you want to do the front end, that's the next logical end of the machine to do. But the rear will definitely enhance the ride either way you go.
And what cartridges on the front? Just the standard?
Yes, we actually, on the tri-glides, we don't offer a 1-inch lowered or anything like that. It's a standard length cartridge for the front of the tri-glides. So it would be an easy drop in and no adjustments to ride heights or anything.
So you're telling me there's not people that are stunting trikes? Maybe not.
Well, there's somebody out there, I'm sure.
There's someone.
Probably has a 131 and ripping off big third-year wheels.
Right. We actually, there's 2 people that regularly comments on our videos, and they did the 131 kit and bars and this and that. It's kind of cool to see.
Yeah.
So I have a dumb question. On the reservoir, do the compression and or rebound have to be on the same setting? In other words, is it 3.3 or 4.4 or?
That's a good question. And actually the answer is no. They do not need to be on the same setting. In fact, in most cases, our standard recommendation is you always run the rebound usually about 1 setting less or lower than your compression. That way, basically, it just slows the shock down so it doesn't have that pogo stick effect, and it doesn't give it like that 1-to-1 feel. And so, yeah, if you're running a 4 on compression, I would start with a 3 on rebound. But that is all still truly seat of the pants feel. There's no rhyme or reason to what you may like versus what Lance or Josh may like. So, you know, if you say I like 4 and 4, more power to you. There's nothing that's going to jeopardize any durability or comfort or control by doing that. It's like I said, bottom line, personal preference. So,
and for those guys that own that, clockwise is close.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. The easiest way that I always can try to put it in layman's terms to customers is no different than tightening a nut or a bolt, rightsy tightsy, leftsy loosey. If you turn the adjuster in clockwise or to the right, just like you're tightening a screw, it's going to tighten the ride up. Vice versa, if you go counterclockwise or left, it's going to soften or loosen the ride up. So,
see, these are things that we tell people.
Right.
I mean,
We're on
we're
it.
getting it straight from Eric.
Yeah.
I do have to tell you, Matt's been great as well. He's been you know, I text him or call him, and I know he's doing a different role these days, but he's still been very helpful for us.
Well, I'll tell you what, that's one thing with pretty much everybody in the building. Everybody wears a number of different hats. And so, like you said, whether it's a tech question or any sort of a warranty or even a sales question, you know, as far as a fitment or something like that, there's, even though maybe we're in the middle of building a shock or dynoing a shock, you know, on a random day, we're always just a phone call or a text message away as well. So we'll accommodate you, no doubt about it.
And that's one thing that the viewers have to understand about Legends. And if you buy Legends and you're part of the team, I mean, we became friends with Jesse and his family, and we love them all, and they take care of us. But the whole group and the whole team over there is almost like an extension of Jesse. And we've been comfortable there ever since. And when we tell people, if you buy the shocks and you have trouble in the suspension and you call Legends, guess what? They're going to be there for you and they're going to take care of it. So that is so huge. And that's how we kind of run Tulane life. And that's why you get people to trust you and want to be with you. And
absolutely.
Yeah, just like you said, the way we do things, whether it's because it's small, operated, and family owned, just kind of like that. And the same goes with other companies and other manufacturers. Like, it's more than just the technical aspect of the machinery. It's
Absolutely.
the people you're dealing with. It's the process that you get to experience, and in some cases have to experience.
right.
You know, so.
Yeah.
Well, for me, I just like to find the secret fridge during rally and get the beer.
Yes, that saved our day.
Now, speak a little bit to your lifetime warranty, because we had one person that needed to use that, but at the end of the day, their installer used the OEM bolts and it broke the shaft on the shock. So that's not, talk about, you know, how you guys work on that
Sure.
warranty.
Yeah. So, you know, as far as the warranty process is concerned, like you said, we do offer the lifetime warranty on all of our products to the original purchaser. The one thing that, in the event that a customer has a warranty claim to be filed, it's a relatively simple process. You jump on our website, there's an online submission form. The two things that it always asks for is it asks for a copy of either the repair order from the install or the actual purchase invoice, just to show proof of purchase to the original owner. And then we always ask for a couple of pictures of the shocks as they're mounted. And, you know, believe it or not, there's a lot of guys out there that have been doing, you know, motorcycle work for 25, 35 years that they'll come out and tell you, hey, I've been doing this for 35 years. I know what I'm doing, but they fail to read the instructions some days, you know, because
Yep.
That's what men do.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're all guilty of it. I don't read the instructions until I can't figure it out.
Right.
You know, it shouldn't be that hard. It's 4 bolts. But going back to your question, we try to make it as blatantly obvious and clear to everyone in the install guides as possible. There's a big picture there that shows the factory flat washer that is not to be used with our shocks, because what it does, it actually will impede the shocks from rotating freely on the spherical bearings. It will actually lock the shocks tight. And when the shocks can't move, as the shock compresses and extends, instead of it moving freely on those spherical bearings, something has to give. And so the shafts will bow, and next thing you know, you'll have premature oil leaks. You'll have different things like that. And so one of the things that we always ask for, like I said, is that picture or two of each shock as they're mounted. If they're mounted incorrectly, that unfortunately does void the warranty, because it is outside of the parameters that we set on how to install them. So it's sometimes not an easy conversation to have with customers, but it does happen. We're very, like I say, we're actually pretty kind when it comes to that situation. Customers aren't required to buy a brand new set of shocks because of an issue like that. We can repair them for a small amount and get them back on the road and not jeopardize, anything else there. But like I said, it does sometimes come to that. And unfortunately, there's
Well, I'll tell you, we had a guy the other day, the guy that does mechanic work for us, had one of his guys call me. This guy bought some piggybacks at a different dealership and realized when he got them on that he should have got the heavy duty. So I placed a call to Matt and I said, Matt, can we change these out? What do you recommend? He's like, yeah, I can get those springs changed for him. Mm-hmm. So they sent the shocks, and I think he got them today, or he's getting them Friday. So Matt got that thing turned around and said, and this kind of shocked me a little bit. I hope I'm not getting him in trouble, but he was just gonna charge him the shipping and not for the spring itself.
Yeah. And that's the thing. We try to be very fair with customers, because understandably there's times where maybe they've made the wrong decision. Sometimes the dealer's made the wrong decision for them, and
Yep.
That situation where the guy just spent $1,400 on a set of shocks and the dealer said, this is what you need. And then he gets home, he's like, man, I just spent $1,400 and this thing doesn't ride near as good as I think it should. And you start asking the questions and you find out that he's been misled and probably has the wrong spring rate, Yep. So we'll do what we can to try to take care of the customer and give them the benefit of the doubt in a lot of situations. In the case that we do charge for a spring swap, we charge $50 per spring. So it's not like it's an exorbitant amount. And the other side of it is, like I said, the customer isn't stuck with an ill riding shock, and it's something that they don't have to feel like they have to turn around and sell to try to buy the right one. So,
and probably more importantly, that story will be told around the world, because when people have a good story to tell, they let people know. And now we've also got a customer for life here because you guys actually stood up and did something respectable. They love your product now, and they love that someone was able to help them. So
yeah,
it benefits the loyalty immensely.
Yeah. And the thing too is that, to kind of go back to that instance right there too, is one of the things that we really take a lot of pride in is actually not creating a lot of downtime, whether it is a warranty situation or maybe it's something where a customer is sending in a set of shocks to have them resprung. We strive to have very quick turnarounds, and, typically from start to finish, from the time they leave the customer's hands to the time they get it back, we try to, limit that to about 10 days, and 8 of the 9 days, a lot of times is on UPS,
Right.
So in the facility, we try to, shoot for a 24 to 48 hour turnaround,
That's fantastic.
Definitely.
Yeah. So got a couple more questions that have popped up here. You may have seen too. One is, what is the best place you guys have traveled to? Do you have a favorite?
Oh yeah, the United States.
Yeah, amen, brother.
It's
don't know.
really hard. There's just so many for each one of us. It's maybe a little different, and then there's a lot of similarities. But I don't know.
I mean,
For
you could-
me,
go ahead.
like probably told this story 100 times, but we've seen so much just mind blowing, incredible stuff. And I'd like to say I'd probably seen something cooler than this, but my favorite place is Zion National Park.
Okay.
What is that? The SR9.
Yeah.
Going through the tunnels, even if it's in summer, at least when you're underneath a couple 100,000 tons of rock, it's a little cool. But you're ripping through these just pitch black tunnels, and you have these windows, and there's a split second where your eye is adjusting to all this light blasting through, and you just catch this little glimpse of I'll use the word again, mind-boggling, just huge rock structures. It's a great road. You're never really going too fast because there's a lot of cars and through traffic. And then depending on which direction you're going, you end up in Springdale, Utah, and get yourself a nice steak and have a good night. And
Perfect.
That's my favorite.
Well, I love everywhere we've been, and I have a good time seeing new places and getting my mind blown with, like, whether it's Niagara Falls or a lighthouse in Maine or a really great desert scene. But there's one guaranteed spot that I can go 10,000 times and I will always dig it: the Grand Canyon.
Oh, I thought he was going to say Williams, Arizona.
Well, that's part of it.
Well,
that's part of it. You're right
yeah.
outside there.
I mean, I could stand on the rim of the Grand Canyon, whether it's the north, south, and just get the chills and just be.
We've been there spring, summer, fall, snow, winter.
I want to go again.
Yeah. I really enjoyed. I think our Milwaukee to Maine trip last year was pretty darn spectacular. I didn't realize the Niagara Falls were 3 separate falls, so that was great. And we saw them both during the day and in the evening. We met some really spectacular people along the journey, and mostly the time when we had Zach and Mary with us was probably some of the better times. That when we picked them up in Newport or Rhode Island, and we went that direction towards Maine was great. And then, but that was last year's trip.
Right, we got more
there's
now.
so many places out there that. We've done the 49 here up in Northern California, which is insane. The Sonora Pass, the North Rim last year, there were 3 roads going to the North Rim that were motorcycle roads, and they were just spectacular.
You get this feeling you travel, let's say you're gone for 10 days and you're heading home, and you get home and you're like, so great to get home. And then Monday morning we're in the office and we're going, where are we going next?
Yeah, for sure. And I'm sure you guys scope out all the good eating joints along the way too.
Absolutely.
I mean, come on, if you're a red-blooded American, we gotta eat, and so that's always one of my perks whenever I'm on the road. I love just scoping out the little mom and pops diners and barbecue joints and you name it. Fresh oysters up in the Northeast, and I could eat myself into oblivion on the road.
We did Northern California last June, I think it was, and we ate at this insane steakhouse.
Which one?
And we put that up on the vlog, and we all of a sudden now we're called Rubs.
Oh, in Carmel.
Yeah.
Hog's breath?
No, it was down the street. Night 2.
That and the food was insane.
Well, that's why we like to showcase
water out of glasses.
That's why we like to showcase where we eat and the food and the dining experience and the history behind the towns that you go into. That's part of the road trip.
And sometimes we eat at gas stations too. So
we've done many Taco Bell. In fact, when we met the people in Seligman or in Kingman, they own a bunch of Taco Bells, and so they sent us some coupons because they saw we ate there.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. What's your guys' go-to food and beer of choice?
I mean,
again, it's
steak, potatoes, and veggies at the end of the day. That's my jam. And a nice hefty steak. IPA or some whiskey or something.
Yeah. Do you guys try to stay kind of
no
with the theme of the region that you're in?
I thought you were going to say healthy.
Yeah, I think we always do that.
No, and that's one of the things that I really appreciate about traveling and watching, guys like you that go out and travel. As far as I'm a nut at watching, diners, drive-ins, and dives.
Oh yeah.
I'm logging stuff in my phone all the time. If I get to that place, I got to hit it. So
Yeah.
Well, we kind of feel like we're Anthony Bourdain in that we travel in these little unique places. We're not overseas doing that, but just we find these places in the U.S. We're a little bit like Guy Fieri, where we do go into these dives, diners, and drive-ins. We do also finer food like Anthony Bourdain. And then there's a guy by the name of Huell Hauser who was a mainstay here in California that was a historian of California. And so we're always trying to hit those tenets, find cool places, unique places, get great food, but tell people about the town and the history of the town. In fact, I called a restaurant today, a place where we ate up in Paso Robles because they're in our drop. And she was super excited. She's going to start putting the video out on her channel. So we try to showcase these little towns and help people get revenue in there.
And we've done the entire Route 66, but we're going to do it again on its 66th 100th anniversary.
And people don't. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, we're going to do some more history pieces on sections there. But when we did the Seligman and we interviewed like 3 or 4 different outlets, stores, restaurants, and they thanked us for letting America see. That meant a lot to us as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I mean, people don't, for example, Amarillo, Texas, when we went to that gnarly steakhouse.
The big Texas.
Like every state's got an Applebee's, but you don't go there to eat at Applebee's. But when you go to Amarillo, Texas, and they got the 72-ounce steak challenge or, whatever it is, we're putting these places out there for people to either, one, have an idea to experience when they go there, 2, get inspiration to go there, or 3, just have things to do and enjoy and look at and be able to experience different stuff. And I think food is a very large portion of what we do and why we do it.
And we do a lot. We have a lot of people that contact us. I'll be in the other room and I'll hear Galen telling someone about this restaurant we ate in Sandusky, Ohio. And I'm like, but that person contacted saying, what was that restaurant you ate in Sandusky where you got the giant breakfast?
We're planning
and
a
like
trip.
5 of you ate and it was like $20.
Yeah. Well, if nothing else, you guys are giving a lot of people inspiration for destinations to ride their motorcycles to.
And the feedback we get, like you said, our thing is we're here to inspire you to find the open road.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of turned, and it's now the comments and the people that are calling us and talking to us, they've actually inspired us to do more. So
Not really.
Inspiration everywhere.
Not really.
So Alan Taylor said we'd like to go to Arkansas. He said the roads are great there. I just saw that.
Yep.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
We'll have to do that one at one point.
Yeah.
Arkansas is good.
We've got some holes in the map we need to fill.
Yep. Huh. Definitely more to see. I'm definitely going back to the South Dakota things. Stoked to see some of the riding.
Look at
without.
that.
What do you guys do outside of Harleys?
Nothing.
I'm a lover, not a fighter.
I pay rent for an apartment I barely see. I pretty much live here. I don't know.
I don't think there's an outside of Harleys for us at this moment in life.
With any other, say, normal situation, say you have a job you like, but you have other things, it's important to have interests outside of work. One, I mean, even though we are busting our ass every day of the week, it also is kind of a lifestyle. And when every aspect of this job encompasses everything you love, you get to hang with family,
right?
You get to eat, you get to ride motorcycles, you get to travel, you get to enjoy the fruits of labor. I mean, what else? More
yeah,
is
I mean,
there?
I think the outside of the Harleys, I think it's probably just more family oriented. I know Lance loves to get together with his grandkids, and we love to get together with our kids. Josh doesn't have kids, but he loves the weekends as well, especially nowadays, because we're trying to get where he's not trying to work 10 days a week.
Yeah.
We'll
get there
He does
one
put
day.
in extra hours, and I think we're getting to a point where it doesn't have to be 7 days a week, and if we can get ahead of certain
Yep.
things. But sports is an interest. We love to drink.
That's a sport,
We love to eat. Lance and I and our wives go out to dinner every Friday night. But it probably revolves more around family and just maybe getting a little bit of away time too, because we're working here in the shop getting orders done, and there's only 3 of us. And believe it or not, we've been getting very busy, and we're still faster than Prime, though.
We're going to have to hire someone pretty soon.
We probably are.
We had someone tell us once, the thing I really like, or I'm seeing when I watch you guys is, he goes, I have a bucket list. He goes, but you guys don't need a bucket list because you're kind of living. You're living it.
You're living it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's, like I said, you guys call it what you want, whether it's work or not. You guys definitely have one of the sweetest gigs in the industry, I would say. So yeah, keep up the good work, because there's a lot of guys out there that would love to be in your shoes, and but probably don't have maybe the technical capabilities of putting it all together in a video format. But that shouldn't,
Well,
got to make it happen.
I learned it off YouTube.
Yeah, you have to think about this for a minute, because we can write a book about this one day.
Yeah.
This was go from a sprint van to become a YouTuber at the age of 55 and 60 years old. Yeah. And like, who does that? And then, why don't you sell some motorcycle parts to help fund it? I mean, my wife looks at me like, are you crazy? What are you doing? I just came from a very well-paid, job to something where I make no money. And she's like, what are you doing? And it's like,
living a dream, babe.
Trust me, we're going to get this thing going.
Yep.
And we've had nothing but, and knock on wood, but we call it fate. We've had really good luck. We create our own luck. We work our tails off. And we have dreams for this thing. We don't just sit around doing nothing. We have dreams to build this. And not just YouTube. I mean, we want to have a really, we have a guy working with us now, Aaron, that's a friend of, Lance's daughter, and has come into our life the last 6 months and has helped us with SEO. So we're restacking the way our website looks based on search engine optimization. That's what SEO means.
He's learning.
And if we can get ourselves jumped to the first page and images, and we have a dream, in place, and it takes its toll, but at the same time, we're having a good time doing it and wouldn't want to be doing anything else.
We're really just getting started. So look out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if this is the beginning, you guys are on the upward trend for darn sure. So, one of the last questions I got here for you is what's the 5-year goal of Tulane Life?
I guess Big Man just covered most of it, but I'll start it off with what I think.
Josh, what's your 5-year goal?
I mean, I could talk forever, but I mean, growing the store to a point where, like Lance said, we need more people, but getting people in here that have the passion, knowledge, and love for it that we do, so that when someone reaches out, doesn't know at all what they're doing, we can get them set up. Someone can get them set up with the right thing. I mean, I think all of us can agree that the goal would be to be doing the things that everyone else currently sees, while maybe we have a nice team doing the things that we currently do that they don't see. So we do more traveling, more capturing, more storytelling, building and whatnot. And then, we have a nice group of people back home.
Well, I think for me, and I think everyone feels the same at these seats right here. Our 5-year goal is to get as many people to figure out how to live life and do things that make them happy every once in a while, so they can live happy. Find America. We're really going to push America
and the rest of the
what
world.
she stands for. Well, we're going to get around the world. We're going to do
will.
some stuff in other countries, but while we're in our home, we're going to get people off their butts, off the couches, find out what life is like out there and live.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. The last couple of years has done a pretty good job of knocking everybody down from doing that. So
Right.
everybody could use your inspiration, I think, or I shouldn't say everybody, but there's a lot of people that could use your inspiration. So
We haven't stopped and we're not going to stop.
I mean, the business side of us is, we put a plan together for year one, and year one was really 10 months, and we did 30% more than we thought we would do. We did 30% more viewers than we thought we would get. Now the second year's financial plan, we doubled what we did the prior year. So 100% increase.
wow.
We can't sustain that, but if you use five times the number of subscribers, 5 times the number of sales, 5 times the growth rate in all our other accounts,
And that,
that's going to propel us to a pretty decent size organization. And
that ties back into allowing us to do exactly what Lance is talking about.
We've been approached for people to pitch television show, for God's sakes. And It's like, what, how did this little channel, create so much interest? And it's just amazing. We hate the iPhones and cell phones, and just because of the immediacy to, media that can be bad or good, and you can't tell the difference. But we couldn't have done it without technology. We're in 52 countries being watched. We couldn't do it without this stuff. And we were talking about sales the other day. We used to cold call and have, brochures and magazines and stuff. And now we drop ship through drag. We can be out on the road and fulfill orders. Well, it's just an amazing thing that's been accomplished. Like I said, we could write a book at some point about it.
Well, we have a patch wall that's growing and growing and growing. We do stuff with the armed forces, armed services, first responders. We have some people calling on us now to do some things to help their charities move forward and get recognized. I mean, we're going to be involved in a lot of different community items, as well as our joy for riding, which turns to the joy for helping. So
that's something we pictured, huh?
Yeah, it's not something we picture, but we have, like Galen mentioned, fate. Every trip we go on, we meet people and something happens from it. And that's from us getting out there.
Well, we had Jason Sims, the guy that runs the Cannonball Run across the country. He was in studio a few weeks ago, and it spurred an idea where, is it 3 or 4 years? It's the 80th anniversary of Normandy. D-Day. And he's got 3 1941 Army Harleys. And we're going to get on current Harleys, and we're going to go do a tour over there across the
and
pond.
Luckily for us, with what we've built, we just made a call to our friend Matt over at Harley and told him what we're thinking about. And he's like, I'm in, and I might have to go supervise,
Well, that'll be an awesome trip for sure, especially doing it on period correct motorcycles.
Sure,
right.
In that era. So that's going to be a trip of a lifetime for sure.
We have plans, and we're storytellers, and we're going to keep telling.
Good. I'm going to slip over here and answer a couple of quick tech questions that have popped up on the screen that I want to get to before we wrap this up, guys. Danny Vandenberg. Hey, Eric, I have a 2019 Ultra. Just put some 13-inch HD shocks on. I tried to do the side correctly. Can you give me advice on the best ride available? I like to go down the road and cruise big miles. So, Danny, when adjusting the sag, the target measurement that you're always going to want to shoot for is 12 inches center to center of the top shock bolt to the center of the bottom shock bolt, with you and your passenger sitting on the bike. However you're planning on riding, that 12-inch target measurement is the like I said, it's the target. That's the ideal situation, especially if you're talking Revo A's. That's the number. If you have Revo Arcs, they have a little bit wider range of adjustability, and you can actually go anywhere from about 12 3/4. I'm sorry, 11 3/4 to 12 1/4 inches eye to eye with you or you and your passenger sitting on the bike. So just keep that in mind. Revo A's 12 inches eye to eye. Revo Arcs 11 3/4 to 12 1/4. So that's going to get you in the ballpark from there. Small adjustments, a turn or two in each spring can make a huge adjustment for you. Each turn of that spring is worth about 22 pounds of preload, whether you're adding it or taking it away. But the big thing is just make sure you do equal adjustments as well, Danny. So
Eric, are you telling him to roll the spring one way or the other?
Well, and more so when a lot of times when we get guys out there, the older, I wouldn't say older, but when we're talking like 11 or 12 inch Revo A's, for example, we're always shooting for a 11.5 inch measurement. 12 inch Revo A's, surprisingly, like if you make 1 or 2 turns of the spring, it can change the ride quality dramatically, just because you might be picking that thing up 1/8 of an inch away and picking it up another 1/8 of an inch, which gets the bumper away from the bottom out point that much further. Sometimes people think that the softer the spring, the softer the ride's going to be, and it actually can be counterproductive or counterintuitive because it is more prone to bottoming. So sometimes just a turn or 2 in each spring can make a huge difference. But like I said, that's really more notorious on the 12 inch versions. 13s though, we don't want to see you go below 12 inches center to center. So one more question that we had in there that I had been trying to get to, had a question on front end upgrades for a Dyna. Solo riding. Yes, we actually do have a variety of axle cartridges for the Dyna models. Anything earlier than 05 would be one of our Axo 39 TSs, which are actually a +2 kit. So it will actually change the ride height of the motorcycle. One of the kits does require an aftermarket tube setup to make sure that you end up with all the additional suspension travel that front end will give you. 2006 to 2017, then we do offer a standard length and a +2 front end for a lot of the Dyna models. And then getting into the 18 and newer soft tail Dyna chassis, anything with a 49 millimeter front end, we do have a cartridge kit for, as well as the inverted front end. So there's a variety of stuff out there. If you have any questions, more particular questions on that, I would shoot the guys in service an email at service@legendsuspensions.com. They will gladly line you out on exactly what you need on your Dyna to get you riding even better. So Ismail, thank you for the great product, guys, listening and installing my new Revo A's on my 14th Street ride. So that'll be a great step up for you, Ismail. Yeah, we'll look forward to hearing your feedback. If you got any questions, don't hesitate to holler. But I bet you it'll change your life.
You're gonna love it.
Yeah. So, well, that's kind of I think where we're at, guys. As far as time wise, we're a little over an hour, and I know you guys have lives outside of Tulane life. Josh, maybe not as much as Galen and Lance, but
I'll be here a while.
Yeah. But I want to say thank you guys for taking the time today and sitting in on this first episode of Legend Live. And
episode 1.
Well, we're honored to be the first.
Yeah, you guys are definitely great ambassadors for the sport and for our products. We appreciate everything you guys do and the word that you guys are spreading out there. So keep up the good work. For those of you following, please like and subscribe to not only Tulane Life's channel, but the new Legend Suspensions Legend Live. And we'll see you all down the road.
Hey,
Yeah,
hey,
that's
Eric,
right.
Eric, before you leave,
Yeah.
take your right hand and put it over your left shoulder.
All right.
And now pat yourself on the back. You did a great job.
Well, thank you. I needed that. I was a little nervous coming into this, but
Hey, we appreciate you. Thanks for all you do for us. And we appreciate being on the live here.
Big time.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks,
We'll-
guys.
We'll see you
Down
down
the
the
road.
road.